In this tutorial, we're going to revisit using myEtherWallet MEW and also using now a hardware wallet. In this case, we're going to be using a Ledger hardware wallet. Always be sure to procure your hardware wallets from the source. And this video is not on how to configure or to use a Ledger. There are many tutorials out there already. Rather, this assumes that you already have it set up. If you don't have it already set up, please refer to the show notes. I'll put some links of tutorials on how to use them. And always make sure you have the latest firmware, that is to say, the latest software that runs your ledger. You may need to add the Ethereum application to your ledger. I've started off, as you can see, with a ledger that's completely new, reinitialized. And I have, of course, the latest firmware. So always make sure you have the latest update to the firmware for your device so as to ensure that you're as secure as possible. So what we have to do here is we have to find the Ethereum application. We're going to scroll down, and sure enough, it's right here. Again, POA is a sidechain of Ethereum. Therefore, the software is effectively the same. The difference, of course, is the consensus algorithm as well as the network. So what we're going to do is we're going to download Ethereum onto our ledger. So it's going to say, all right, installing application. I'm going to allow it on my ledger, and then the application will be installed. All right, so before we begin, again, this is by no means an in-depth tutorial on Ledger. Rather, it's just use, but some common traps. We have to press both buttons on the ledger itself in order to basically engage the Ethereum program. And then what we have to do is we have to go into settings, and for contract data, let's just put it on yes. And on browser support, we need to put it on yes. Again, unfortunately, it's not a Ledger video, but there are others. So the number one issue when people are using ledgers on myEtherWallet or any of the other sites for the first time, probably there's a failure to put this in web, allowing the web to access it. All right, so let's go to myEtherWallet now. We're going to go, weirdly enough, to send Ether in tokens. And whereas before we entered our private key, which was extraordinarily unsafe, as I have said repeatedly, or even, honestly, a couple of these others are just as probably unsafe to do on a computer, we're going to use a hardware wallet. And there's many hardware wallets that are supported. If anybody wants, I guess I have all of them. So, you know, you could just ask, say, hey, can you do one for the digital beatbox? Or, I can't pronounce that one, or Trezor, Ledger Wallet, etc. MetaMask, we've already seen in another tutorial. Before we begin, let's just change the network. Since we're going to use the POA coin, we need to change that to the POA blockchain. All right, so now what we're going to do is it's changing the blockchain, and what we're now going to do, we're now successfully connected. We're going to press Ledger Wallet. Why hardware wallets are so much safer than using your computer? They have built into them a number of different crypto primitives and tools, such as a random number generator per standards, as well as the ability to perform various functions and digital signing completely within a secure enclave or secure environment. So what we're going to do is we're now going to connect Ledger Wallet. Again, we're going to press here, and we can see that we have this big red scary bar here. Not to worry, we're just going to keep it on the standard path, and we're going to pick any one of these addresses. Now again, Ledger supports hierarchical deterministic, can never pronounce that, HD wallets. And so we have at our disposal effectively an infinite number of addresses. That, of course, is a gross oversimplification, but for purposes of this tutorial, we see that we could literally go and pick any one of these addresses. Chances are, though, you will probably want just to pick the first one. The reason why you'd want to have multiple addresses is for perhaps security. You could use one for, let's say, work-related activities, another one for personal, another one for, I don't know, a savings event of sorts, maybe like a fund or something. Something that is up to you. We're just going to pick the first address and unlock. So again, what we have here is we have that address. We can always display the address on our ledger to verify that the software here, myEtherWallet and Ledger, both see the same information. What we're going to do here is we're going to add POA tokens, POA coins to this ledger, and then we're going to send those coins probably out to another wallet, perhaps to one of the wallets we've seen before. So the first thing I got to do is I actually have to send this address some POA coins in order to do this. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use, again, I suppose, Trust Ethereum Wallet just to send some POA coins so I can start playing around with this. On second thought, actually I won't. What I could do is I could just use, again, we have coins here. I could just simply send this all within myEtherWallet and use this as my... So let's just do it directly within. I mean, since I've got coins here, and they're all going to be here. So, okay, yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this private key. Again, this one has, I believe, still about 14 or so 14 or so POA. We'll unlock that. Yep, 15 POA, sorry. And what we're going to do is we're going to send it to this. This is on the ledger. This is from the other wallet that I had before. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my address, copy this so it has 0 POA currently, and I'm going to send to this address perhaps 10 POA. Again, not POA 20, just POA, since we're on the POA network. I will generate transaction. myEtherWallet, again, is a suite of applications. It performs all these, all this work. What we're doing here is we're having it generate a transaction and then signing the transaction. Now again, we entered our private key, so the signing is taking place on the website, if you will, within code. We're going to see when we move from Ledger, the signing takes place on the actual hardware wallet. So we're going to send the transaction. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. All right. So once again, we see that it's making its way on the network. So let's go back to our ledger. Now, again, here's our ledger, and we see we have 0 POA. So what we have to do is we have to hit refresh. Now, when we hit refresh, we're basically going to have to, again, go through this whole process. So we're going to hit refresh. It's going to take us to the landing page. Once again, we're just going to say ledger, connect, and it's going to open this up. It's going to start reading. We already see it's shown up, so it's really quite quick. That's real time. I haven't done any editing. We'll unlock. And there we go. We've got our 10 POA. So we see one of the real value adds to POA for a number of reasons. POA network is significantly faster than using Ethereum. Now, let's say we actually want to send these 10 coins, if you will, back to this address. This address, by the way, does not have 15. It's minus 10. We can hit refresh here as well, just to verify. And I'll just refresh. I'll enter the private key, and we will see that this address, in fact, has now just 5 POA. So what we can do is we can copy this address and go back to the ledger. Now we're on the ledger. We noticed, of course, the icon here has changed colors, and we're on the ledger. We're going to this address, and we're going to send back, I don't know, maybe 7. We'll just take a weird number. POA. We're going to generate transaction. This is where it begins to become very different and why it's much safer. Once we hit generate transaction, we're going to see on our ledger, do you want to confirm? Now, it will also say the amount and the address. It will say the amount in ETH. We have to be aware that we are not sending ETH, rather we're sending POA, so just be aware of that. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit OK on the ledger. And it will have signed it. We still need to broadcast the transaction. So why this is safer, the transaction was signed inside of a secure enclave, or secure element, on the ledger, and was never, if you will, exposed. The private keys were never exposed outside of that. Now we're going to broadcast that transaction using myEtherWallet. Are you sure? Do you want to broadcast? Yeah, broadcast. All right. So we now, well, actually you can see real fast. It's already updated that. Now we come over here, it hasn't updated here. So again, we have to basically refresh. And we could just, look at the, there we go. And we see that we have moved those 7 coins right back. So we have now 12. So in this tutorial, basically we saw, in a nutshell, how to move coins to a ledger and move coins out of a ledger hardware wallet using MEW. Hopefully this demystified some of the process and you feel a little bit more comfortable using it. This is by far the most safest way to access this site using a hardware wallet. Any hardware wallet will do. Again, if anybody wants me to use a different hardware wallet, just maybe make a comment. I'd be glad to. Thank you very much. And what we'll do in the next video is we'll see how to actually move POA 20 coins instead of POA 20 tokens rather than POA coins.